Hello, countries around the Gulf are reporting a new round of Iranian missile.
This is the city of Marawi in the Philippines, or at least what's left of it. The destruction.
Bound for Nagasaki. The phantasmal swirl.
Giyera, no? Ito yung naririnig na naman natin sa mga balita. Cities are burning, missiles are being sent, no, sa mga cities, sa mga bansa. Civilians die alongside warriors din, no? And amidst all of this, we can hear politicians speaking of justice, no? The question is actually, can war ever be just?
Sa episode natin ngayong araw na ito, subukan nating mag-discern, subukan nating tumagos sa slogan, sa mga tagline ng mga politicians. Subukan nating lampasan yung mga ideolohiya. At subukan din nating tagusin yung tinatawag na geopolitics, no? Kasi parang nakakulong na tayo eh. Na dapat ito ang rehiyon mo, ito ka lang dapat, ito lang ang sa ganitong antas ka lang dapat pwedeng mangarap, sa ganitong antas ka lang dapat pwedeng mabuhay. Beyond geopolitics, let's try to enter theology, philosophy, and moral metaphysics. At the center of it, itong principle ng gera nga, no, ng war, merong isang importanteng thinker, one of the greatest of all time, no? Si Saint Thomas Aquinas. Anong sabi niya? But before him, may isa pang intellectual giant, si San Agustin, no? O si Saint Augustine of Hippo. Ito yung ating topic for today. At yun nga, susubukan natin na talakayin, sagutin, na meron bang gera na makatarungan? Is there such thing as a just war? So, huwag na natin patagalin pa. Tara na, at tayo'y magkwentuhan. Ako po si Russell.
Ako naman po si Lennon.
At ito, ang tamang usapan.
Usapang may tama.
Since we're trying na pumasok sa isang mas malalim na reflection, no, ng warfare, sa tingin mo bilang pare, bilang Katoliko, no, bilang Kristiyano, no, meron ba tayong issue sa violence? Ano ba prinsipyo natin diyan? Christianity as a whole, no? How do we perceive violence? How do we receive the notion of violence?
Okay, just siguro before we really discuss nga itong usapan natin yun about just war theory, no? Ang kailangan natin munang maging malinaw, no, that war is never morally good. Violence is never morally good. Because Christianity at its heart begins with a crucified Messiah. We saw Jesus himself revolutionizing yung bayan ng Israel, hindi sa pamamagitan ng isang madugong pakikibaka, no? Rather through his own death, no, on a cross, sacrifice. So Christianity does not have an army, does not have retaliation. In fact, 'di ba, nasa gospel 'yon. Kung sampalin ka, ipakita mo ulit yung kabila mong pisngi. So it is not a political revolution in the sense of the Marxist revolution, for example, na that they really go for the violent revolution, no? In fact, Jesus himself, if you remember, 'di ba, dun sa Garden of Gethsemane, nung ipinagtanggol siya supposedly ni Peter, no? Tapos kinuha ni Peter yung espada nung isa sa mga sundalo, tapos napigtas niya yung tenga nung isa sa mga servants ng mga punong saserdote, 'di ba? Sabi ni Lord, 'di ba? Those who live by the sword will die by the sword, no? Now, ang tanong, paano nakarating, no, na ngayon nag-uusap tayo ng just war theory. And of course, in history, the church has been involved in many, we can say, violent events in history, like the Crusades, for example. Are they really justified? There are still people who are asking that. Teka, how could a religion that teaches about love, the primacy of charity, justify violence? No? And that is what we will be talking about today. So, dun sa tanong mo, pre, how do we see violence? It's bad. It's morally evil. The other thing that we have to consider after that consideration is, when is the time that it is justified? Now, saying that it is justified does not mean that it is good. It just means na wala kang choice kung hindi yun ang gawin mo for a greater good, no? And that is what we will be seeing in this discussion of the just war theory, which is actually something na very part of our rich tradition, theological tradition, na even modern theologians, no? For example, I remember the last pontificate, no? Na it seems na hindi nila naiintindihan itong just war theory, not as a justification of warfare, but rather as really to understand, no? And to see that even amidst this chaos, God's mercy is at work, no? So, napuno tayo ng maraming mga slogan nung nakaraan, no? Na feeling natin nasa tayo, 70s hippie anti-war mania, no? Anyways, that's just my that's the digression, no? So balik tayo ikaw, Sel, yung history.
Napakaganda nung pasimula mo nun, we're talking about foundations from the gospel, then the one of the most controversial questions, yung crusades, no? Pero let's start before I say my piece, no? Kasi while you are citing yung admonition ni Jesus kay Pedro na isalong mo ang iyong tabak, ang nabubuhay sa tabak ay mamamatay sa tabak, no? Those who live by the sword shall perish by the sword. Pero some activists, no, or liberation theologians, no, or yung mga adherers ito, they're trying to project an image of Jesus na teka, pro pro liberation, no? Kasi I have been sent to tell the poor the good news, to tell the captives that they're going to be free. Do you think that I have come to bring peace on earth? No, I have come to bring sword. Fathers against their sons, mothers against their daughters, sons-in-laws against their etc., blah, blah. So, ano yung sound theology dun sa sinasabi ng Panginoon, no, ni Jesus sa Ebanghelyo, kung saan sinasabi niya na, I have come to bring sword, to bring division, no? Does it connotate warfare? Sinasabi ba niya doon na, teka, I am promoting violence, no? If it means to liberate a certain group of people or to promote justice for the poor, the proletariat, halimbawa, yun ba yung message nun, Father Lennon?
No. No, no, no. Ayun ay appropriation lang ng Panginoon, na appropriate ng mga Marxist.
Oh, yun. So, that's one thing, no? The second thing is the Crusades, no? Pero before we go to the Crusades, no? And based dun sa introduction ni Lennon, Christians are generally pacifists. So, if some of you medyo idol nyo si Andrew Garfield, no? Yung pangalawang Spider-Man, na doon na siya nakilala. No? Meron siya isang napakagandang movie, yung Hacksaw Ridge. Kwento yon ni Private Desmond Doss. He was enlisted in the US Army, US Armed Forces pala. Hindi ko alam kung army siya. Army yata siya. No? So, he wanted to respond to the call to defend his country. So, siya ay lumaban sa World War II. Pero dahil nga, siya ay isang pacifist, never siyang humawak ng baril. Almost na court martial pa siya, no? With the intervention of his father na veteran na nagkaroon ng ties sa isang general, parang gano'n, no? Naligtas siya sa court martial kasi nga ano siya, eh, may tawag do'n, eh, objector yata ang tawag. Conscious objector, parang gano'n. So, during the time parang kaso 'yun, kasong malaki 'yun sa military. Kasi parang tahasan siyang tumatanggi sa orders, no? And yung main order is to bear arms, no? Eventually, he fought in the war as a medic. He never used any gun, no, to defend himself nor to defend his comrades. Pero kung ini-spoil ko na kayo kasi para panoorin niyo ng mas maganda. Every time may ililigtas siya and he is also in the verge of danger, no? Lagi siyang nanganganib ang buhay. Pero every time dadala niya dun sa dulo ng Hacksaw Ridge yung isang wounded na soldier, lagi siya magsasabi, "Lord, one more." Ta's kukuha na naman siya ng wounded, dadalhin na naman niya, "One more." Until hindi niya na kaya, so nag-ano na siya. Dahil nga closing in na yung enemy, nag-ano na rin siya, nag-evacuate na rin siya. So, are Christians violent people? Generally, Christians are pacifists. If you're going to look at the history of ancient Christianity, up until year 313, illegal ang Christianity. So they never dared to engage, no, sa social na hindi, tao din kami, promote namin yung rights namin, walang gano'n, no. They live their faith, no, amidst all the fear and the danger of being taken away sa kanilang mga bahay, patayin sila ng kanilang mga oppressors, just like back then, the Roman Empire, especially Diocletian. Yun yung isa sa mga largest na persecutions, no, during the time of Diocletian. But in 313, under Constantine the Great, promulgate yung Edict of Milan. So, Christianity has become recognized. Recognized pa lang naman siya. Na okay, merong ibang religions, Christianity is just like them. So, freely nang napa-practice ang faith. And one of its core tenets is peace. Kaya nga mabilis siyang nakapasok sa sa society kasi yung notion ng pagiging peaceful. Then eventually in 381 under Theodosius, naging official religion ng Roman Empire ang Christianity. That's why Christians were not totally persecuted minorities. They became governors, magistrates, some of them senators, some of them military officers, no. Hindi lang sila common soldiery. Some were soldiers, of course, no. And even emperors, no. So they shaped the European civilization because emperors must make decisions about war. And being a Christian back then makes a whole world of difference because generally Christianity is a genuinely religion of and for peace. So we're talking about the 313, 381. Now let's go to 430, no, or 420, no. And this was the time where the great Bishop of Hippo, Saint Augustine, doctor of the church, no, lived, no, and eventually he died under sinakop ng mga northern tribes yung lugar niya. Kaya nga he really saw the horrors of war, no. So ano yung naging yung Augustinian viewpoint when it comes to war and peace? None.
Yeah, because of this tension nga, no? Na at the same time, Christianity is a religion that worships the Prince of Peace. Yun ang tawag natin sa Panginoong Jesucristo, di ba? Pag tatandaan ninyo sa Advent, yung mga hymns sa Advent, the Prince of Peace. But at the same time, now you have Christian emperors, Christian generals, no? They have to part ng duties nila yung yung war, no? Especially war in the defensive state. Now comes Saint Augustine. No? Dun sa kanyang libro, yung City of God, Augustine confronts yung collapse ng Roman Empire, ng Western Roman Empire, no? Kasi by that time, ang nag-survive na lang ay yung Eastern, no? Yung tinatawag natin yung Byzantine Empire, no? Yung nakabase sa Constantinople or Istanbul. Pero yung western part, yung nakabase sa Roma mismo, it fell to the barbarians, yung mga nasa yun ang tawag ng mga Romano, at least yung mga Visigoths, yan, mga yan, dun sa Europa. And then later on, yung sinabi nga ni Russell kanina, no? Even Augustine who lived in North Africa, no? He died actually nung masasakop na yung city niya ng mga Arabs, no, ng mga Muslim invaders, no. In City of God, Augustine confronts Rome's collapse, no. He sees violence not as glory, no, kasi sa classical civilization before ng Christianity, violence is a sort of sports. If you take on a city dahil sa giyera, after nun pagka kayong nanalo, lahat yun ay spoils of war, lahat yun ay trophy ninyo, no? You can kill everyone there, walang magrereklamo. You can enslave them. You can do everything you want, essentially, no? Now, because of that, Augustine sees there not glory of man, no? It is not something that glorifies man. Rather, violence is a tragedy. A tragedy born of disordered love, no? Can be love for the nation, love for violence itself, no? Na disorder. Well, love for the nation, which is good, pero na disorder. Love for violence itself as a sports, that's of course disordered kaagad, no? So for Augustine, war is always the result of sin. It's always, yun katulad ng sinabi natin kanina, ang preamble natin dito. Violence is never good. War is never good. So war is always the result of sin. However, at the same time, if you are a governor, if you are an emperor, you are a ruler, refusing to restrain evil can also be sinful. No? War, what is war? War is classically called the last argument of kings. Yun ang pinaka-last resort. So what Augustine is saying here is, what if lahat na tapos na lahat, no? Na exhaust mo na lahat ng options. Ang natitira na lang ay war. And you need to go to war to restrain something evil. So just standing by saying na hindi kasi pacifist ako it can also be sinful, no? So Augustine writes actually sa City of God, no? That peace is the tranquility of order. And that is foundational. No? Peace is not merely absence of conflict. Hindi lang siya yung dahil wala lang gulo, wala lang giyera. No, hindi yan ang peace, no? In fact, punta tayo sa modern philosophy. Si Immanuel Kant, meron siyang well, maikli lang naman yun na libro. Yung argument niya ng tinatawag niya na perpetual peace ata yun kung hindi ako nagkakamali. Which is, well, si Brother Robert dahil yan ang thesis niya ng college, mas alam niya yan. Which is different from eternal peace. Ang pinagkaiba raw nun is that perpetual peace is peace maintained by human beings. So, meron pa rin mga gulo. Pero yung order, yung tranquility of order ay ina-achieve, no? Pero yung eternal peace, we can only have that in heaven. So, going back, no? So, if peace is not merely the absence of conflict, rather it is right order. That is each thing in its proper place under God. No? So, ngayon, si Augustine, hindi naman siya idealistic lang na once ma-achieve natin yung Christianity na lahat, Kristiyano na tayo lahat, ano na tayo, mapayapa na, wala nang gulo, no? So, Augustine, hindi. What is war but the pursuit of peace by means of violence. No? Sabi niya sa City of God. And more sharply, for it is the wrongdoing of the opposing party which compels the wise man to wage just wars. Ngayon nakikita na natin yung umpisa ng just war theory. That we can justify war when yun na yung last resort, and also if it is the last resort para pigilan yung something evil. So, for a greater good, no? So, yung mantra ngayon, although kung nag-a-agree kayo hindi, labas tayo, wala tayong political na usapan yan. Pero yung mantra ng US government yan, di ba? May giyera sa Middle East na peace through strength. In a way, medyo similar dito sa idea ni Augustine. Ha? Yeah, what is war but the pursuit of peace by means of violence? No? So, now, going back, notice this. No? Para kay Augustine, importante yung term na compels. No? Yung sasabi niya na, for it is the wrongdoing of the opposing party which compels the wise man to wage just wars. So, war is not done for the benefit of war. Para lang magkaroon ng gera. No? For the glory of being a warrior. No. It should be compelled by an injustice. Kaya nga, mapapansin mo rin yung mga modern political leaders, lagi silang naghahanap ng justification na tinatawag. No? How can they justify waging war? Because you cannot just go to war para lang just for the fun of it. No? For the fun of the game. O kaya sabihin mo disgustingly na, hindi, gusto lang namin talaga mag-conquer. No? There is always what is the injustice. Yun ang nire-resolve nung gera na yun. No? And Augustine himself says, no, they who have waged war in obedience to the divine command have by no means violated the commandment, thou shalt not kill. Now, this is actually quite controversial. Maraming modern theologians ang medyo umaalma dito. So, ang sinasabi lang dito ni Augustine, no, is that the commandment, no, yung commandment against murder, forbids murder, yes. But not all killing in the sense that when you kill out of, for example, we can say yung self-defense, di ba? Kahit sa batas ng tao, hindi yun considered as murder, no? Ngayon, mas inalakihan niya, so, sa level ng mga estado, so war, if it is, especially pag defensive siya in nature, no? So, already, Augustine distinguishes between private vengeance, yung naghihiganti ka lang, and public justice, yung meron ka talagang nira-right na wrongdoing, no? So, he writes that war may be just if war seeks peace and punishes wrongdoing. Yun yung dalawang importante, linawin natin. If it seeks peace and it punishes or it tries to rectify an injustice.
Kaya nga very crucial yung if the intent is to seek peace and to correct wrongdoing. If the means by correcting such wrongdoing, halimbawa systemic yung wrongdoing, usually back then, no, yung principle ng just war, we are waging a war against oppression, tyranny, slavery. Kaya ngayon, di ba, yung gera yung gera ng Unionist at saka ng Confederacy, di ba? Yung Civil War ng Amerika. Yun yung nun eh. Yun ang crucial na subject, no? Slavery. No, the goal is always peace, moral order. Kaya tinatawag niya na tranquility of order. Order na, tranquil pa. O kasi merong mga nagpo-push ng order na hindi naman talaga orderly. We can always look back at how regimes during the earlier part of 1900s, napaka-orderly. Black and white lang ang suot. No? Yung time ni Pol Pot sa Cambodia ba yun? Si Pol Pot ba sa Cambodia? Orderly yon. pero kulay gray lang lahat ng suot niyo. Pero bawal ang matalino, bawal ang pare, bawal ang teacher, bawal ang estudyante. Lahat yun ini-execute. Sa communism gano'n din. Sige comrades tayong lahat, pero ang mayaman lang yung 1% lang, yung partido lang. Yung Nazism, orderly, literal. Ahilera ang mga tao, they have their own unified singular salute, no? Their way of salute, their way of greeting, wala na yung good morning, hail na. May ihe-hail silang human figure, no? Emperor nila parang Roma before, 'di ba? Hail Caesar. Kahit sa Marvel yung kalaban ng Avengers Hail Hydra, 'di ba? May gano'n. Orderly, pero hindi siya tranquil. Kasi hindi siya life-giving, 'di ba? And minsan, to really correct something, it has to be done. Yun ang sinasabi ni Augustine. That's why very crucial na ang intent ay the pursuit of peace, of genuine peace. Hindi lang yung peace na I hate this kind of people, so for me to have peace or to have a superficial peace, burahin natin sa mundo ang ganitong klase ng clan during the time of Shoah, no? As Emmanuel Levinas would perfectly, wonderfully argue or posit sa writings niya. Or halimbawa sa drug war, may isang klase ng grupo ng tao o ng mga Pilipino for that matter na wala silang pakinabang at sila ang source ng krimen. So let's just eradicate them from the face of the earth without due process. Ang sinasabi, i-address ko na lang din before we proceed kay Thomas Aquinas. Bakit hindi just war ang drug war? Kasi it failed to provide the very thing that we, our parents, our grandparents desperately fought for during 1986, 1987. What is that? Due process of law. Kaya nga yan nasa Bill of Rights. Walang kahit sino man ang papatawan ng anumang parusa nang walang karampatang pagsisiyasat. Due process of law. Ang issue ba natin, galit ba tayo sa drug war dahil ayaw lang natin ng sinasabi kasi ng ibang mga tao o ibang grupo na nagpapanggap na majority sila na kapag galit ka sa drug war ay addict ka. Hindi. Galit tayo dun sa extrajudicial na pagsasagawa ng drug war. Kasi dapat naman talagang magkaroon ng war on drugs. Kailangan natin siya i-combat kasi pinapatay niya yung future ng bayan natin. Kasi sino ba ang target ng drug war? Number 1, working class. Parang opium war yan working class. Number 2, kalalakihan, halos. Sino ba ang kalalakihan? Working force. No? Workforce, mga tatay, mga binata. No? So hindi lang sila tatay, kung binata man sila, so sila yung mga able if ever magkaroon ng need para ipagtanggol ang bansa, sila ang able bodies. Ngayon tinutunaw sila ng droga. Kailangan natin makipaglaban sa droga. Pero sa paanong paraan, some will argue na unjust yung violence just because much worse napagbintangan lang. Naging kota lang, 'di ba? So beyond the person, naging number lang sila. Ang tawag pa nga ng iba, score lang, naging score lang sila. Naging reward money lang. Kung totoo man yung reports, reportedly, alleged. So, walang tranquil order. Walang tranquility. Yung kapayapaan na hindi tunay. Kasi totoo naman, you try to look at the society today, na-eradicate ba talaga ang drugs? So ibig sabihin, the method or the methodology, the way it was presented sounded too good to be true. Kasi hindi naman siya nag-deliver ng ultimate objective na palayain ang bansa natin sa scourge ng droga. So baka meron pa. Ngayon inaatake nila si Father Flavi, taking all his words out of context. Pero hindi na siya hindi na siya about morality. Naging political na lang, 'di ba? So ibig sabihin hindi 'yun yung objective, no? Sadly, baka nagamit lang yung drug war sa political motivations. And trahedya 'yun. Kasi may nakinabang na party, may nakinabang na maliit na grupo at the expense of the sincerest hope ng bawat nanay, tatay, lolo, lola, teacher, pare, communities, mga barangay, mga purok, mga sitio. Yung sincerest hope nila nalalaya tayo sa ganong klase ng scourge. Scourge yun eh. Sumpa yun eh. Kaya dapat ma-exorcise yun. Diba? So we need stronger mechanisms and perhaps in critique also of the church, we need a stronger church. If a man is possessed, he needs a priest. But if a community or a country is possessed, it needs a church. Ngayon, paano kung yung church himik lang din? Eh bakit? Eh mawawalan ako ng followers. Hindi tranquil order yun, Father. The point is, for Augustine, war is medicine. Medicinal. At times, it can be bitter. Wala namang matamis na war. It can be dangerous. It can cause a lot of pain. But sometimes, it's necessary. Parang toothache, ba? The more mo ring hindi tanggalin, the more din siyang magkokos ng pain. So, extracting it will be painful, pero after that, it's medicinal. It's therapeutic. Wala na yung pain. Now, that's Augustine. We're talking about the late 5th century. Now, let's fast forward tayo ng konti sa world history during the time ng tinatawag na scholasticism. 1,000 years later. So, dito na nagkaroon ng principle talaga ng just war. So, we entered into this context. Sa Magnum Opus, Magnum Opus ba tawag? Sa greatest work ni Saint Thomas Aquinas, yung tinatawag na Summa Theologica. Mind you, these are volumes of works, ni Thomas Aquinas over the years, He asks whether it is always sinful to wage war. Now, to give you an additional context, the scholastic era, while being demonized by so many academics of today, Christian-centric yan, mga pari lang dati, sarado yung knowledge sa mga normal na tao. May ganun. Tapos parang demonized yung medieval ages. Lagi nilang ina-associate sa dark ages. Kesyo, boblocks ang tao, mga pari lang, gine-gatekeep daw yung gine-gatekeep ng Christianity ang wisdom. Actually, hindi. Kasi, kung titingnan nyo yung mga gawa ni Thomas Aquinas, ni Abelard, si Peter Lombard, si Anselmo, Anselm of Canterbury, sino pa ba mga favorite ko? John Duns Scotus, yung mga sabihin nila anti-science ng simbahan, nandyan yung mga simula, yung mga pioneer na scientist. Si Roger Bacon, si Francis Bacon. Medieval philosophers tong mga to, Kung titingnan nyo yung mga works nila, ano ang format? Hindi sila katulad ng mga philosophers natin ng 1960s, ng 1920s, yung early, late Heidegger, early Wittgenstein, later Wittgenstein. Hindi. Ano ang format nila? Question and answer. Bakit? Kasi merong process ng learning dati, ang tawag nila questiones disputatam o disputandum, parang gano'n. Ang itsura ng classroom dati, just try to imagine with me. Ang classroom natin, pag sinabi natin classroom setup ngayon, nakahilera. yung mga upuan nakaharap lang sa blackboard. Doon hindi. Ang itsura ng classroom dati, malawak yung gitna, 'no, yung gitnang space. Doon sa isang harapan, meron siyang elevated na platform, ta's may lectern, parang bird's nest, parang pulpito. Nandun yung lecturer, tapos ang mga estudyante nasa magkabilang gilid, magkaharapan. Ang lecturer, kapag siya ay nagbigay ng lecture, expected niya na may tanong. Yun ang questiones disputandum o disputatam. Pagtatalunan niyo yung lecture. Kaya pagtatalo literal na open for debates, 'no. Kaya kapag lecturer ka talaga, professor ka, respetado ka. Kaya si Thomas Aquinas naging professor yan ng University of Paris yata, ng Bologna. Bologna, by the way, is the oldest university. Around year 1000 na-establish yun. Pero going back, 'no, ang Summa Theologica para siyang makabagong, para siyang dating, 'no, parang catechism ngayon, 'no. Tanong, tapos sagot. So, ang tanong ni Thomas Aquinas, 'no, bago bago yung sobrang haba niyang paliwanag, magbibigay siya ng isang simpleng tanong. Lagi bang mali ang giyera? Makasalanan ba ang giyera? No, he answers, "No, but only if 3 conditions are met," and together, 'no, si Lennon, ako, kayong mga nakikinig sa amin, patikim, 'no, pasulyap, 'no, pasilip, 'no, sa utak, 'no, sa genius ni Thomas Aquinas, 'no. Eto na yung explanation niya. Ano yung 3 kondisyon? Number 1, legitimate authority. Una, kailangan merong sovereign, merong isang leader na magde-declare ng giyera. So, hindi dapat basta lang, 'no. Hindi siya galing sa pag-aalsa. A sovereign, someone who can take responsibility must declare it. So it does not belong to a private individual to wage war. Because he can seek redress of his rights. Wala siyang accountability. Tulad ng mga ibang tao diyan na, ay hindi, sine-threaten niya lang yung mga kriminal para hindi gumawa ng krimen. Yung sinabi niyang, "Manlaban kayo para patayin ko kayo." Hindi, ano yun, alam niyo naman si tatay, he's just joking, 'di ba? O ngayon nasa tribunal, todo tanggi. War belongs to political authority. Mamaya meron din akong, diskursus niyan. Kasi may isang modern philosopher din diyan, mamaya si Clausewitz. War belongs to a political authority ordered toward the common good. Why? Because coercion belongs to the political community ordered to the common good. Private revenge is always immoral. Same like Augustine. 'Pag private vengeance, hindi public good ang intention, immoral 'yun, sinful 'yun. Kasi 'di ba sinasabi, dito, baka sabihin niyo, wala naman sa Biblia 'yan, Aquinas 'yan, eh. Ito, pakinggan niyo si Father Thomas Aquinas, sabi niya, sabi nga ni San Pablo sa Romans chapter 13, "The ruler bears the sword as minister of justice." Ulitin ko 'yun, the ruler bears the sword as minister of justice. Ano ang hustisya? Pagbibigay ng karampatang bagay sa bawat isa, ng naaayon sa bawat isa. So, if you conducted evil against the people, 'no, you are oppressor, o kaya unjustly, 'di ba? The Arabs, 'no, peaceful ang Holy Land, for the longest time, eh. Then they decided, sige, sakupin natin. Kasi same ano lang naman, same geography. Nag-respond ang Europe, gawin natin, i-cleanse natin. So, it was a justification for crusades. So, anong sinasabi dito sa legitimate authority condition ni Thomas Aquinas? Automatic, terrorism is not just war. Hindi nga siya war, eh, kaya siya terrorism. Ano pa? Vigilantism. What made the Philippine drug war sensational was not because of the method, was not because of the political discourse, but rather it evoked, no, or invited or inspired vigilantism. And it seems, no, from from an analytical lang naman, we can always argue naman. Pero from an analytical stand, wala kang accountability na dun. Kasi sasabihin mo, "Well, I just said things." Pero there are just some people who took matters into their own hands, 'di ba? So the war on drugs basically was carried out by people who just wanted to clean the society. So it was never a war, was never a just one. Vigilantism yun. Ano pa? Private army, madami yan sa Pilipinas. Bakit? Meron nga daw ano, every province, no, especially in the countryside. What rules every province or every municipality or city in the provinces? 3 Gs. The guns, the gold, and the goons. 'Di ba? Kung sino yung may guns, kung sino yung may gold, at sino yung may goons, hari-harian na sila doon. Kaya hindi rin natatalo sa eleksyon. Anong tawag natin? Mas maganda pakinggan, eh, sa 1987 Constitution. Anong tawag sa kanila? Political dynasty. Pero basically, the guns, the golds, and the goons. Kaya dito pa lang sa legitimate authority, when Thomas Aquinas said, no, there must be a sovereign who declares it. Failed na ang modern ano, lahat ng history ng modern violence failed na. Kasi sovereign is someone who bears the mandate of the people. Ibig sabihin sanction siya ng tao. Meron siyang power, he extracts, no, he 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 claims, no, inspiration, divine inspiration, most of them, well, regardless naman siguro, I mean, to be objective din, regardless kung sila ay Christian o hindi, no, pero may mandate sila ng people and they claim divine wisdom. Yun ang ano ng sovereign, eh. Kasi without the confidence of the people, tulad ng mga nangyari, 'di ba? Out of fear. In the late 20th century, it was out of fear. Kasi may ruling class, may ruling party. So talagang it fails, no? Most modern violence fails the first criteria. Second condition, just cause. Yan. Ano yung just cause na tinatawag? Sabi ni Aquinas, a just cause is required, namely, those who are attacked should be attacked because they deserve it on account of some fault. Hindi pwedeng, "Ay hindi kasi ano gusto ko lang i-secure yung oil ko, eh. Gusto ko lang i-secure yung national interests ko sa region na tinatawag na Middle East." Hindi just cause yun, kaswa pa yun, 'di ba? At the expense of who, 'di ba? Of your own countrymen shedding their blood for the country. Sila nandun dahil mahal nila ang bansa, eh. Kaya nga wala sa kanila yung cargo, eh, 'no? Nandoon lagi yung accountability nandoon sa ano, sa sovereign dapat kaya dapat may sovereign. Pero mamaya mas ano i-critic din natin yun. Kasi some of the Nazi soldiers or most of them nung nahuli sila and they were tried of their war crimes, lagi lang nila sinasabi, "Eh, inutos lang naman sa akin kaya sumunod ako." Tama ba yun? Mamaya itanong natin kay Father Lennon yan. The word deserve, no, shocks modern ears. Kasi nga naman, siyempre sa society natin ngayon, pag sinabi mo, yung mga inatake dapat deserve nila. Sila inatake kasi deserve nila yun. Paano yun? Masakit sa tenga yun, 'di ba? Pero ang sinasabi dito ni Aquinas, it's an objective injustice, tyranny, oppression, slavery. Objective injustice 'yan, yung pag-aagaw mo ng karapatan ng isang tao mabuhay. Objective na injustice, hindi yung ano, hindi yung, kasi magkagalit tayo, eh. So, dahil galit na ako, then na-secure ko na yung popular mandate, puwede na namin kayo atakihin kasi galit kami sa inyo. Hindi yan ano, hindi yun yung objective na ano, hindi nila deserve yun, ibig sabihin. Eto, very important, war is not emotional retaliation, which some cultures 'no, still harbor. Halimbawa, may mga specific na cultures kasi na some groups, halimbawa, may mga hang up sila sa history. Tapos naging generational yung hatred. So, every time maalala nila, mare-recall sa kanila yun. Nasa psyche na nila na, "Hindi, kailangan naming gumanti." Diyan ka rin bibilib sa mga Pilipino. Bilis tayong makalimot, no? Kaya wala tayong gano'ng klase ng vengeance. Problema din, yun din ang sakit natin. Dahil mabilis tayong makalimot, hirap tayong matuto. So, it's a juridical correction, traditionally interpreted as defense against aggression. Ito yung sinasabi ko. If it is tyranny, if it is oppression, if it is objective injustice. So, bukod sa aggression, you also have stolen goods, yung recovery ng stolen goods. Yung pagre-restore nga, kasi nga, justice is the restoration of dignity. Kapag may inagaw ka sa tao, slavery, inagaw mo yung kanyang freedom. Oppression, inagaw mo yung kanyang dignity. Yung outright na pagnanakaw, corruption, ninakaw mo yung goods, no, yung future nila. Small scale, large scale, it's the same. Ano yun? Objective injustice. Kaya yun, may punishment of grave injustice. Somebody might ask, paano yan yung, for example, i-case study na nga natin para hindi na puro hindi theoretical. Yung Iran, preventive war daw kasi, sabi ng statements, no? It's a preventive war. Some of them might say. Aquinas would likely reject, no? Speculative aggression. Kasi kung hindi namin atake, atakihin kami niyan, eh. Sabi niya hindi, kailangan may objective wrongdoing. So, some will fail of condition number 2. Lastly, kay Aquinas, yung condition number 3, right intention. Self-explanatory, pero basahin ko na lang dito. It is necessary that belligerents should have rightful intention, so that they intend the advancement of good or the avoidance of evil. Even with authority and cause, hatred corrupts the act. So, hindi dapat hatred yun. Hindi hatred towards another person or another group or another nation. Kasi even with authority and cause, no? May authority ka, may sovereign ka. Sa kanya yung mandate ng people, approve, di ba? The people's approval, the Lord's approval, so to speak. Pero siyang cause. Pero it is motivated by hatred. Hindi rin. Kasi hindi yan yung right intention. Babalik lang tayo, same with Augustine, the right intention is to pursue peace, genuine peace, and to correct a wrongdoing. So, interior virtue matters. Mapapansin nyo, ito yung genius ni Aquinas. What he's trying to say is, the first two, pasok pa yan yung human values mo. Kasi ma-secure mo lang yung popular vote for us, halimbawa sa atin, kailangan ng vote ng Congress, to declare a state of war. So, ma-secure mo yun kasi very charismatic ka, eh. Sabi mo, hindi, babaguhin ko. 3 to 6 months, mawala na ang kriminalete. Kuha mo yung popular, super majority ka pa. Okay, di ba? Pagpalagay natin, meron kang just cause kasi grabe talaga, nagsasuffer talaga ang natin, ang society natin because of certain acts of certain people. Pero the right intention, no? You look at, this is how Aquinas would really frame, no, yung balancing ng human reality sa morality. Na kahit meron kang gano'n, kung sa loob mo wala yung right intention, na yung values mo ay corrupted, wala pa rin. It will it will collapse 'no, hindi siya justified 'no. So, if war is driven by hatred, greed, domination, it becomes unjust. Eh, napaka-perfectionist naman. Baka naman, perfectionista na si Aquinas. Hindi, sinasabi niya, the end must be peace, eh. Now if it is hatred, ano mangyayari? It's logical, kasi baka sabihin natin, "Hindi, very metaphysical." Hindi. Kasi kapag hatred yung motivation mo, ano mangyayari? It will not generate peace. Ano mangyayari? It will generate another hatred, 'di ba? It will invite more violence. So, war is judged not only externally but morally and spiritually. Importante yun kasi yun ang essential dimensions ng isang tao. So, fast forward doon dahil mahaba-haba talaga yung pine-perile 'no. Sinasabi ni Aquinas 'no, it's an integration of external justice yung makikita, yung mararamdaman and internal virtue. So, hindi siya puwedeng panglabas lang, change is coming. Tapos hindi dumating yung change. Sabi 6 months, 6 years walang change na nangyari. Wow, gano'n. So, internal virtue. Ngayon kung tatanungin niyo ako, anong mas importante do'n, some might argue, simula dapat internal virtue. Bakit? Yung nasa loob mag-e-exude yan palabas, eh. So, kung virtuous yan talaga na tao, talagang he lives peace inside of him. Lalabas at lalabas yan, it will really inspire peace. Look at John Paul II. He went to Poland, the first year of his pontificate yata yun. Simple lang yung homily niya, sabi niya, "On this feast of the Pentecost, it's my simple prayer, Lord, renew the face of the earth. Send forth your spirit and renew the face of the earth. Send forth your spirit and renew the face of this land." Nag-collapse ang communism sa Poland. So, hindi lang siya rhetorics, hindi lang siya pagiging charismatic, yung virtue mo sa loob. And thus, war becomes subject to moral theology, not merely politics. Yun nga sinasabi ko, sabi ni von Clausewitz, war is an extension of politics, which we can discuss sa susunod na nito. Mag-part 2 siguro tayo ng discussion kasi very interesting ito. So, wag niyo kaming iwanan 'no, we will eventually upload yung part 2 ng ating discussion on just war. Kasi pangit naman kung tipirin natin and, interesting siya, natututo rin kami ni Lennon sa studies nito. For us to be more aware and at the same time hindi lang maging aware, to pray, especially us Catholics, this time of Lent, 'no, we pray sa mga nangyayari, yung horrors, yung mga nagsu-suffer ng wars. So, dito na muna, tapusin natin muna kay Augustine and kay Aquinas 'no. At magla-lunch pa si Father Lennon, alam niyo naman ang, lunchtime niya, na may community life yan, hindi yan puwedeng uma-absent. Ako na muna, tatapusin ko na muna dito. Magkita-kita, magsama-sama tayo sa next episode, i-upload din naman namin agad yan. So, dito na muna, ako si Russell,
Ako naman po si Lennon,
at ito ang Tamang Usapan.
usapang may tama.
Ayan, ayan.
Bye-bye.
Mamaya magbabakbakan tayo ulit.